So in this video I'm going to show you how you can configure IPv6 router OSPF, and that's going to be a little different from OSPF configuration, specifically because we have not spoken about IPv6 addresses here, but I'm going to configure some IPv6 addresses just on router 1 and router 2, and then I'm going to examine IPv6 router OSPF, which is going to be OSPF v3 configuration. Now you can have OSPF v3 on some platforms with address family for IPv4 and IPv6. Here what I'm going to do is to say, let's say configure terminal, and then I'm going to say router, and after that IPv6, and you can see that we have OSPF under this, and after that instead of a number we can go with any tag. I'm going to say enterprise or ENT for the process tag. Now if I just show you the commands that are here, you can see that there are some interesting things. For example, we don't have any network command. This means that all the interfaces should be configured with OSPF on interface level, not on router level. The other thing is address family. Although this is IPv6, but we can just start address family IPv4 as well. So if I just say, for example, address family, and after that you can see that the only thing that we have is IPv4, and then I would say, for example, unicast. And then I go under this, you can see that there are some other configuration, for example, redistribution or stuff like that. For example, default information and something like this. I'm going to say no to this. I don't want to have any address family for this. So I just want to say, let's start from the beginning. I'm going to say no this, and I'm going to say commit, and there is nothing to commit as a matter of fact. And I'm going to start with this command. Router IPv6 OSPF ENT, and I'm going to say router ID is going to be an IPv4 address, which is interesting. Now if I say commit, I have not used, this one says that I should clear the process. Okay, although I have not assigned any interface to this, but if I say to show IPv6 protocol, this is going to appear under that, and there are some stuff that you can just check it. For example, the ID, the process tag, and some other information. So what I'm going to do is to assign some interfaces for that, and although IPv6 is by default enabled on all the interfaces do not have any IPv6 address assigned to them. Let's say that I'm going to show the running configuration of Ethernet 1. You see that there is no IPv6 address under that. So I'm going to say interface Ethernet 1, IPv6 address is going to be, let's say 2000, and then this is going to be 12, and this is 1/64. Hit enter. Now, what I'm going to do is to say I'm enabling this for IPv6 OSPF. So I would say IPv6 router, and after that there are some options. OSPF is my choice, and we have a tag of enterprise, and we have an area of, let's say 0. Hit enter. So I'm going to commit this. Now let's check some things. To show IPv6 interfaces brief. Here it says that we have an IPv6 address assigned to Ethernet 1. The others have linked local addresses, but Ethernet 1 has a global address as a matter of fact. So do show IPv6 OSPF interfaces brief. Here it says that we have Ethernet 1, and it is in waiting because on the other side we don't have any OSPF v3 router. That's okay. Let's do the same configuration for loopback interface. You see that loopback interface does not have any IPv6 address assigned for that. I'm going to say interface loopback, and I'm going to say IPv6 address is going to be 2000 and 1 and 1. That's it. And hit enter. /128, of course. And I'm going to commit this configuration, and not before that I'm going to do something else. I want to assign this OSPF as well. Okay, so let's say commit. Okay, now that I have done this, if I just again say do show IPv6 OSPF interfaces brief, now loopback interface should be under that as well. But the state is loopback, so this is not going to create any adjacency. Okay, let's go to router 2 and do the same thing on here. So again, IPv6 unicast routing you do not really need to enable it. This is enabled by default. I would say interface EAT1, and IPv6 address is going to be 2012.2/64. And then I'm going to say IPv6. This time I'm not enabling the process, and let's see what is going to happen. IPv6 router OSPF tag, let's say enterprise, area, let's say 0. And I'm going to do the same thing for interface loopback. So IP address is going to be 22/128. And IPv6 router OSPF is going to be enabled. And if I commit this and show running configuration, now something interesting is going to be there. You see that I have no OSPF v3 created for me by default. Although I have created them under here, but this is not going to add the actual configuration to the global configuration. So if I say do show IPv6 protocol, it says that there is nothing. This means that I have to go to global configuration, and I have to say rather IPv6 OSPF, and the tag is going to be enterprise. And then I'm going to say, let's say I'm going to assign a router ID as well. And then I'm going to commit this. Now that I have done this, and it says clear the IPv6 process, okay, I will. Now what I'm going to do is to say do show IPv6 interfaces brief, IPv6 OSPF interfaces, of course. And now it says that we are trying to create a neighbor. And let's say if I just say OSPF neighbors, okay, the neighbor now is in full mode. So if I just go back to here, it will say 1/1. Now let me just show it to you. Okay, so we have created this, and let's check some other stuff. To show IPv6 route, we have some information from the other side, specifically the loopback interfaces. And if I just try to say ping, the ping is going to be, I guess, IPv6 ping, right? IPv6 ping, yes, that's right. The ping is working just fine. And now do show IPv6 OSPF database is going to show us some interesting stuff. And that stuff is this. You see that we have the advertising router of 2 under router, which is us, of course. And then we have link LSAs, which is something new in OSPF v3. We have router LSAs here, which is going to be type 2 because I didn't change the network type. We have network LSA, and also we have intra-area prefix LSA. These are the newer types of LSA that now we have in OSPF v3, which means that instead of carrying all the information in LSA type 1, now we just have some very basic information in LSA type 1, and the rest of the information is going to be used in intra-area prefix LSAs. So the configuration could be extended to other neighbors, to other routers, and all the other things that we had in OSPF v2 is still applicable to OSPF v3, so I'm not going to just spend a lot of time on that. And I just wanted to show you that this is possible on ICANN's operating system.